Shalom, everybody. This is Betty Erica, aka Lady Smooth, aka Lady Bet, aka Lady Judith, daughter of the Most High, daughter of the Most High Ministries. Now I'm going to get straight into this message. Oh my. So the Lord has had me held this message for a long time because I've been trying to seek a way of ministering about it. Teaching on it, I want to say. But he has wanted me to do it for a while. I just wanted to be clear because I have other messages that I need to do. And I asked the Lord, I said, which one do you want me to do first? Do you want me to do this one or do you want me to do that one? And this one, the topic of it is marrying strange nations. The Hebrews marrying into strange nations and other races. Now, this is very important. He answered my question today. Last night I asked him, I petitioned him. I said, Lord, let me know which one do you want me to do? And Sister Deborah, shout out to Redirecting. She talked about this. She went live and spoke on this topic. So that's when I knew it's time for me to speak on it too. So let's go into it. I'm going to give a few scriptures. There's plenty of scriptures about this and why we should not intermingle with other nations, especially the Hebrews. And I used to be I'm not innocent to this myself. I have dated outside of my race many of times. And when I say many of times, I mean more than once. Okay, not a lot like that, but more than once. And I thought nothing wrong of it. At the time, I thought nothing wrong of it, but the Lord showed me as I went along why it's important not to. I'm going to go over a few scriptures, and then I will go into some personal stories and details of why we should not intermingle with other nations, okay? So I'm going to start off reading Ezra chapter 9, verse 1 and 2. Okay? So, should I go 9, 1 through 2? Or, let me see. Yeah. 9, 1 through 2. And the reason why I'm starting off with this first, because this is also concerning children today, you know. We have a lot of mixed races and children, and these children are growing up into so much confusion. It's sad, and it's really sad. It is. And now, if the Lord allows it, that's a different story. But I think very rarely it turns out to be a perfect fit in the Lord's eyes. Okay. So this is Ezra 9, first Ezra 9. No, just Ezra. Yeah, 9, 1, chapter 9, 1 through 2. Okay. And I'm going to show you right now so you know I'm not fibbing. I'm looking into my sefer. Okay. Okay. I got it highlighted there. Now when these things were done, the princes came to me, saying, the people of Yasharel and the priest and the Levite have not separated themselves from the people of the lands, doing according to their abominations. Even the Canaanim, the Shittim, the Perizim, the Yavidakim, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Mizmarim, which is the Egyptians, and the Amorim. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands. Yea, the hand of the princes and the rulers has been chief in the transgressions. So, keyword. They have mingled their holy seed. The holy seed have mingled themselves with these people. Now, what does the Lord mean by that? First, let's just say, Abraham bloodline through Jacob is supposed to be a pure, holy seed. And it's holy because the Lord has chosen Yashael to be separate, because also the serpent seed have mingled into these nations. Okay? The serpent seed is mingling into these nations because these nations worship false gods. They worship fallen angels. They worship false gods and idols that have that spirit behind it. So you're bringing that into your bloodline. So if a person, a lot of black people who have intermarried into other nations, for example, they have married into Catholicism. They have married into the Catholicism spirit is such a heavy spirit. That spirit does not agree with me at all, and I'll tell you a story about that recently happened to me. That spirit and my spirit do not get along at all because of the Holy Spirit within me. That spirit is a strong spirit of death. It really is. It's of death. It's of sickness. It's worshiping the dead, and so on and so forth. And you're bringing that, which you whom knew the Lord and knew whom originally, let's just say, were a Christian. I don't even want to say Christianity. I don't want to put a title, but you knew the Most High, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and your mother's mothers knew, and your grandparents knew, and you all grew up in the regular church, right? But you intermarry into a Catholicism spirit. You're going to think you're doing the right thing when you're not. You're not. Chanting to Mother Mary, who is flesh and blood like us, is worshiping the dead, because flesh and blood dies. The only one is everlasting and divine blood is Christ. Yesiah, the Messiah of Nazareth, the biblical Messiah. He's the only one with the pure, divine, holy blood that can save you. So you can't worship something that cannot save you. Okay? Some people have married into Asian nations who serve Buddha, who serve all of these different deities and gods, that they also, when they cook, they feed their food to these gods, these with a small g, and you have to understand that fallen angels always wanted to be like the Most High, just like Satan. Satan always wanted to be like the Most High. So they all want to be known as gods, like all of these superheroes. They all are fallen angels. Hercules, Zeus, they all named after fallen angels. And so your seed is mingling with this, and you're bringing that in, and it's steering your heart away from the Lord, because now you can't sit at the table with this family and discuss the Most High with them, and for them to be receptive to it. If they do, hallelujah, amen, they want to know more about it. That they'd be like Ruth and want to know more about Naomi's God, then so be it. But that's very rare. You'll find yourself adapting to their ways. You'll find yourself not even having a chance to talk about your God because they don't want to listen. Your Jezebel women do not want to listen to it. She's going to say, what? Anyways, we're having fun. Let's celebrate with the family. We'll talk about that later or whatever. It's serious. This is serious why the Lord has said this. And I am a living witness of it. Because I have tried to talk to my significant other at the time about the Lord. And I've got brushed off so many times. But anything that was important when it comes to their religion, or which they barely talk about, which Catholicism or whatever, which they barely mention because it means nothing to them really in actuality. You will have to sit there and listen to that, So let's go to Ezra chapter 10, verse 2 through 3. And Shekenu, the son of Yekevel, this is the way it's spelled because the real names are in my Sefer, and they're Hebrew language, so sometimes it's hard for me to pronounce it. If you can see that, but just read Ezra 10:2-3. You'll know which name is which. One of the sons of Elam answered and said unto Ezra, we have transgressed against our Elohim, our God, our Ahiah, and have taken strange women of the people of the land. Yet now there is hope in Yasharel concerning this thing. Now therefore let us cut a covenant with our Elohim, our Ahiah, to put away all the women such as are born of them, according to the counsel of Adonai and of those that tremble at the commandment of our Elohim. And let it be done according to the Torah. And I read Ezra 10:10-11. And Ezra the priest stood up and said unto them, Yea, ye have transgressed and have taken strange women to increase the trespass of Yasharel. Now therefore make confession unto Yah, Ahiah of your fathers, and do his pleasure, and separate yourselves from the people of the land and from the strange women. One example, before I go into the next scripture, one example I like to bring up is Kanye West. Yay. The brother is going through so much after mixing with this strange woman. Very strange, and she's a witch. The family is a witch. And his kids are now subjected to these ways, glorifying Halloween as if it's something to be glorified. And then how can he wants to do right when at the time when he was married to her, and of course he wants to do right now. That's because that fake one running around with the new wife, that's not him. We know that's not him. Anybody see Stevie Wonder can see that that's not him, because it's just strange. It's a clone. Okay, so him turning to the Lord and him having a church and then him trying to get her to do right. Did it what's the word I'm looking for? Did it prosperous anything? Was it a success? Did this woman turn from her wicked ways and try to serve the Lord and try to cover herself up and try to really glorify the Most High? She did not. She did worse. She got her daughter serving Halloween. She running around and flaunting herself as Marilyn Monroe. No, she did not turn away, try to do what Kanye wanted to do within the family. None of them. They were not going to turn. No, that's very hard. So he would have to be subjected to the ways that their ways are, which is wicked. So that's one example. There's many more examples out there. I know Sister Carrie Ann, she mentioned Twitch. Oh yes, his wife is definitely of a serpent seed bloodline, and his Twitch innocence was just destroyed through this wickedness and now he has mixed kids that have to deal with that. This is serious. So let's go to 1 Kings chapter 11. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of Moab, Ammon, the Edomites, Tisyon, and Shechem. Other nations, concerning which Ahiah said unto the children of Yasharel, Ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their Elohim. Solomon cleaved unto these in love. And he had 700 women princesses and 300 concubines, and his women turned away his heart. Bam. It's plain and simple. His women turned away his heart to where he almost struggled and lost almost the grace of the Most High for a minute, and until he turned back to the Most High. But they turned away his heart. And he did not, he adapted to their ways, serving their lords, making sacrifices to their fallen gods. I'm going to turn on the air because it's getting hot in here. And sure enough, the Most High was not pleased with him. Now, apart from that, there was something I wanted to say. Turn your heart away from God. Oh, the children. The children grow up into so much confusion. Okay? I've had a girl, when I'm in the hospital, working nursing at the hospital. And this one young lady who was mixed, she was very beautiful, black girl she had her heritage, her natural heritage, nappy hair like in an afro, but she had these blue eyes, and she was very, very light skinned, way more lighter than me. And her uncle I don't know what's going on with that situation, but he took her to the doctor. I'm not saying that he's not her uncle, but I don't know. I could mysteriously think that was his child, and there's some confusion there. I don't know if he slept with the mom. However, the mother did not show up, and the mother was a Caucasian lady. Okay, I asked the uncle, he said something about, her dad is black, the mother's white, the mother didn't want to show up, something. This young girl is only 14 years old, and she's going through so much trauma in her life, and she was in psychiatric care. And when she saw me, because I'm like the only black nurse at the hospital, she said, oh, a colored girl like me. And then she stopped and she said, I'm a nigger. And she started crying. And I said, honey, black is beautiful. I took off my scarf and I let my hair down because I didn't want to look so, I guess I wanted to be more motherly towards her and kind of understand and get on her level. And I said, black is beautiful, honey. And I said, you need to just focus on, what the Lord wants you to do and your purpose in life, and stop focusing on these people, because I guess her group of friends were making low-key jokes, and, that's what these kids are growing up into, much confusion. Like, am I accepted? Am I not? Am I not half you? Am I not half you? Which side should I pick? I don't know. It's confusing. It is. And it's selfish that these parents would do this only because a lot of the black people don't want to be black. Hebrews don't want to be Hebrews. Hebrews don't want to accept their beautiful culture, and that the fact that the Lord has placed his very own DNA in our bloodline. Yesiah. And, it's Lord, help me carry out this message, because it really is. I'm trying to explain it as best as I can. It's pride, it's vain, it's vanity. It's disturbing, because you have, apart from the witches, okay, I lived among a lot of Armenian people, okay, I lived in a city called Glendale, which is majority Armenians, and you never see them mix with a black person. Never. The only people who are doing this is, certain Caucasians or whatever, and Asians and Hispanics and whatnot, and every other nation. But you have certain communities that don't do that. Another one is the so-called fake Jewish people, the synagogue of Satan. They don't mix with the Hebrews because light and dark don't get along. It does not mix. A wicked bloodline does not get along with the righteous bloodline. And I say that to say, and I'm not saying all of them, the ones that know Christ are different. But, and there's barely anyone who acknowledge who he really is. So, their bloodline do not mix because Satan doesn't want anything to be clean. And if he did, he wouldn't allow these men to do this. And I just did a topic on that. Okay? Given circumcision with the oral suction. That's wicked. In a righteous bloodline, this is what the Lord doesn't want us to mix with. But hey, strange women. This is what they do. This is what the Hebrews are doing, mixing with strange women. Now let me go on to about 2 more scriptures before I break down some personal stories for you all. Let's go with Joshua chapter 23 verse 7. That ye come not among these nations, these that remain among you, neither make mention of the name of their Elohim, their gods, nor cause to swear 7 oaths by them, neither serve them nor bow yourselves unto them. Okay? Because when you're serving them, you're serving their God, their ways, everything about them. The next one is Deuteronomy 7, chapter 7, 3-4. Neither you make marriages with them. Okay? Your daughter you shall not give unto his son, nor his daughter shall you take unto your son, for they will turn away your son from following me, that they may serve other Elohim. So will the anger of Yah be kindled against you and destroy you suddenly. Okay? Now let's go into some personal stories. This is tough to talk about. With that being said, the children are being so turned away. They don't even know the Most High, because now Hebrews have gotten so comfortable into the world system and into Babylonian system that they have not even took the time to teach their kids about the Lord. They'll go to church without their kids. For what? And then have their kids out in the world mingling with other nations and following their ways. Okay? I made sure I told my daughter about the Most High. I made sure I kept her in the church. And then I came out of the church to know the Lord had guided me so much wisdom that surpassed with me my own reading and my own wisdom, that he taught me, hey, we serving the wrong Christ, because Christ is not Caucasian. He's a Hebrew. And he is of the tribe of Judah and of Nazareth. He's a Nazarite. And when that came to the truth, I had to re-educate my daughter. But for the most part, she knew the principles into serving the Lord, and she prayed to the Lord. Still to this day, she does. Even though she's around worldly friends, she knows the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So, this is a personal topic. I'm going to start with myself, my own personal story. So I used to date a illegitimate man of a very famous person. I'm just going to say it. Illegitimate son of Elvis Presley. Okay. And it's so hard to say this because he was also getting paid to keep his identity a hush-hush, because he was an unwanted child, okay? His mother was Hispanic and his daddy was Caucasian. Simple as that. He had plenty of talent. I mean, he played the guitar. He was full of talent, just like his father. Same exact moves and spirit and everything. I thought things were going well with us because I met him according to doing music. This is when I was really doing music. I'm still doing it, but not as much worldly. And we made a couple of songs together that sound wonderful. And we were dating. We were actually engaged. He gave me a ring, and I was his fiance. And things got so out of hand. One day, I went to the hair salon. I took him with me, but the strangeness started showing up in him. I started seeing two different personalities. He was one way and then he was another, and it was strange. He had a nice normal side to him, and then he had a demonic evil side to him. And he started hallucinating because I told him to wait in the car because he was doing strange things inside the salon, like flirting with my beautician or trying to get attention from my beautician. And it was weird to me because I didn't see this side of him. I remember one time we went to the restaurant and he did something very, very strange. So anyhow, I told him to wait in the car because I'm about to literally curse him out. Okay. And all I know is that I was done with my hair, got in a car, and then he said, "Did you leave with somebody and come back, and is your beautician um, covering up for you or something?" He kept asking me that, kept asking me that, kept asking me that. I said, "No, what is wrong with you? What are you talking about?" We were at his house, okay? He had a Ferrari at the time. And we're in his dining, not dining area, but den. You call it a den when you have, it's like a den slash, playroom, whatever, party room, because he has like pool and everything and all the music instruments and everything. And I was cold, so he gave me his jacket, and I guess he forgot that he had some crack in his pocket, in his the side pocket. So I was digging my hands in the jacket, I guess, to warm him up, and I feel all of this stuff, and I look, and I said, "What is this?" Oh, he's smoking crack. So, I asked him about it, and I guess he got very offensive. And then the tables turned. He was already high and lit. This night was the most wicked night of my life. And me and him argued. We fought. He fought me. The only thing I'm grateful that he didn't do was he didn't hit me in my face, but he beat me so bad on my arms. And I had bruises all over the place. And I was yelling to the top of my lungs, "Help, help, help, help." Nobody would hear me. Now it's so strange because any other day me and him are arguing. That's why I think this whole community was kind of the area, the certain by his house, the neighbors and everyone was demonic or into some kind of a heavy occult. Okay. He used to get allowance just to be on a hush hush about the son that he is. Okay. So I started yelling, "Help, help, help," and nobody heard me. And he was trying to hold me hostage in the house. He barricaded the doors and everything. Now, mind you not, he's half Mexican, he's half white, okay? And it was very hard for me to even teach him about the Lord. At times he would listen, and then at times it would just roll off of his head, It was very, very strange. And he was into some kind of magic, definitely some kind of magic, because no one could hear us. And all I know is what he told me was that he was going to go crash his Ferrari into a tree, and first thing he was going to kill me, and then he was going to crash his Ferrari into a tree. The story did not end that way, thank the Most High for my protection. So as he was doing such weird stuff, I went into the bathroom, or I don't know how we ended up in the bathroom. We were fighting so much, and we ended up in the bathroom, and he started turning on the water and just doing the most wickedest things. He was really trying to take me out. And I asked the Lord, like, if you get me out of this, Lord, I'll never go back. And so there's a post that was on the side where you get the toilet paper from the post. And I hate talking about this story. It just it irks me. Um, so I got the toilet paper. The bottom of the toilet paper post is very heavy, and the Lord said, "Get that." I got it. I picked it up and I gashed him in the head. I gashed him a good twice, and if I would have did it the third time, he would have been dead. So I gashed him twice, and literally his brains were open, like his whole head was open, because he had beat me so badly. I was trying to get out the window. Before that happened, I was trying to escape out the window, and he kept dragging me inside. So when I was about to hit him the third time, he said, "No, no, no, no. Okay, I'll stop." And then he stopped. Still, I couldn't get out of this. And the next morning, well, it was only like 1 hour before sun had risen. We calmed down. He couldn't do any more because at this time his brains is all busted out. And the police came. How the police came, because he went to the room, and I tried to leave again, but he had the door barricaded with chairs and everything blocking my way, so I would not escape. Like literally, this man knew what he wanted to do. I don't know if he was trying to blood sacrifice me or what, so he can become famous and rich, whatever. And the demons speaking to him in his head. So, I went out. I got out, and then he chased me, literally chased me, and grabbed me back in the house. Okay, grabbed me back into the house. So I went back. I was grabbed back in the house. I'm like, "No, let me go, let me go, let me go." And I guess thank God for the neighbor down the street, they saw what was going on. Like, I better call the police. And they called the police, and the police came and said, "There's some kind of commotion. Somebody called the police." And I said, "Yes, help." I said, "Yes, help." He was trying to cover my mouth and everything. Thank God they did not leave. They came, they opened the door, and I just couldn't wait to leave. I didn't tell them what was going on because I didn't want neither of us to go to jail. Now, I really didn't care about him going to jail, but I knew that since it was domestic violence, we both would be called in, and eventually they would probably try me as well, and ask me, because I had bruises and whatever, and he had the gash, we probably would have both been charged or something. I don't know. But I said, "Lord, I just want to go home." Thank God the police guided me to my car, and I got in the car. And then he was trying to give me these shoes. He had just bought some pretty shoes for me with diamonds on them and stuff. And I said, he was trying to give them to me, and I said, "No, I don't want them." "You don't want these?" "No, I don't want them. Keep it." And matter of fact, I think I pawned the ring that night. That day, I pawned that ring. And so I went home, and he was calling my phone. I made a police report, and he was calling and blowing up my phone and blowing up my phone. And I said, "Hey, the police is going to come after you if you don't stop, And thank God, after that day, I never heard from him again. Okay. But the wickedness of it all was through his bloodline. Because overall, we had some sweet times, but this is the very time he has ever put his hands on me and showed me such a demonic side. Now, one time we were at a restaurant, and we were looking like rock stars, whatever. And we were trying to just have something to eat. And next thing I know, there's a lady young girl who walked in with her baby, and she was very pretty, whatever, with her baby and her family. And he was just sitting there and just gazing at this woman. And I don't know what he did to her, but it was such a demonic spell or whatever he was doing, casting on her, because she literally slipped out of her chair. She was so weak for him, like how some of those girls be so weak for Elvis Presley on the stage, how they were just crying out. She literally was like almost fell down after the connection that they were having. And I just walked out, and then he went chasing after me. He was like, "Stupid, I got a beautiful girl right here. Why am I looking at other women? Stupid," whatever. But I didn't understand that. And when I talked to my mother about it, and she said, you know, that bloodline is very wicked. He got a very wicked bloodline. It's demonic. It really is, you know. So that's my personal story. Um, I want to give two more personal stories, but not of myself. A friend of mine named Carlos. He was telling me about him going to go see some woman in the Caribbeans or whatever, who's mixed or whatever. And he never wanted to get married and everything, but I said, so you're adamant about trying to marry this woman? You know, he said, yeah, but I kind of had a, I kind of just feel some awkward about it because one day she was doing some chanting. She was mumbling something out of the blue. And I said, sounds like she's into some kind of witchcraft or something. I don't know. But all I know is that he was dating this woman, and Carlos was a very promiscuous man. He was a drummer from a group called 1500 or Nothing, and he played a lot for a lot of celebrities. And he slept around a lot. He slept around after every concert with anybody and any girl he could. So at first I was thinking maybe they sacrificed him because he just died out of nowhere, and I had no idea. For 2 years I didn't know until I looked on, like, where's Carlos? I look on his Instagram and it says he's deceased. And I said, what? Then the Lord showed me, because they said he had a heart attack. And Sister Carrie Ann mentioned this, that these entities are going to manifest themselves to where people are going to have a heart attack doing the hanky panky. So I had a vision, like, okay, I don't know if it's a vision. No, not a vision. The Lord just telling me that's probably how he died. He probably seen this woman transform herself, and that was it. That was his life, because he was very sexual person. He just didn't care. He just didn't care. He slept with anybody and everybody. And so another one I want to talk about, which is another personal story, was my ex-boyfriend, black guy. I really wanted to marry him. I really did. His name was Jamar. And he told me about a woman that he was with who was a Latino woman. And he was about to marry this girl or live with her. He moved in with her. They both had separately lived in LA, but then she moved to Arizona and he moved in with her shortly after a while. They've been dating for about 4 years or something like that. They was together in a relationship for 4 years, so I guess they finally moved in. The whole time he didn't know how this woman was, right? So he said he looked in her refrigerator, and one day she had his picture in a honey jar. And he asked her, like, why is my picture in a honey jar in the fridge? And she said, oh, so we can always stick together or be together. And I said, okay. And then he said one day she was gone or went to the restroom, and something told him he had a strange feeling in his spirit to look at her phone. And so he picked up her phone, and he seen her phone with a bunch of black African Americans, as they call us, Hebrew men, private parts. So she had different pictures of many, 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 many men. He said so many men in her phone of just their private parts. So what does that tell you? This woman was not obsessed. This woman did not love him genuinely. She's obsessed with the black toolbox. Okay? A lot of these women marry for the obsession of the sex. That's just plain and simple. And a lot of the women marry outside because of the social status of the white male or of a different race. And they want to do better. Now, I don't believe the Lord would judge the women as much as they judge the men, because the men are the head of the household when it comes to the black women. The black women are single. and they can't find the black men that really genuinely love them for who they are without unaliving them and going after other women. So they have no choice but to date outside their race, but they have to be careful too, because they're also subjecting themselves to have their heart steered away from God. Now, Candace Owens is my girl, and I really like Candace Owens. There's a special part of me when it comes to Candace Owens, but she is married to a Gentile, and I know she's Christian, and she says she mentioned it herself. She said there is an unequal yoke when it comes to my husband believes and my beliefs. So how do you guys ever discuss that? You don't. You just put it off to the side or whatever, but it's not genuine full love, because if you cannot discuss with your partner about your beliefs and serving the right God, it's a problem. It really is a problem. And her husband is a Catholic, so that Catholicism spirit is engrafted in her and her children. And something about the Lord showed me about the Catholicism spirit. The reason why it's so heavy, even more than the fake synagogue of Satan religion. Surprisingly, I know you guys will be like, wow, even more than that? Yes, even more. Why? Because when the Lord brings judgment to the gates of hell after he risen after the Sabbath, and he risen and went back to the Lord after he died on the cross, on the tree, whatever you want to call it. He went down to hell and took care of business. And he gave Beelzebub the prince of hell. He gave him to be the prince of hell, even over Satan church. So Satan, he said, Satan church, even over Satan church, you will be over, because Beelzebub runs the false prophet, which is the Pope. This is what the Lord showed me. Beelzebub, the gates of Beelzebub, is the Catholicism spirit who's deceived all the nations. The harlot, the great harlot that deceiveth all the nations. That's the Catholicism spirit, the Pope, the false prophet, because that's Beelzebub next to Satan. He will be his most trusted advisor. And also, when these elites go and do their sacrifices, they sacrifice to Moloch, which is a Beelzebub. and they had conjured up that spirit before. We seen it with what's that guy name? What is that guy name? What's that guy name? The guy exposed the Bohemian Grove. Alex Jones, I think. Alex Jones. He exposed the Bohemian Grove, and they did sacrifices in their wilderness. And that spirit had conjured itself up. And that spirit is definitely Beelzebub. That was not Satan, that was Beelzebub. So that spirit is behind the Catholicism spirit. And when they take pictures of dead people, and they're trying to really bring that to the black community. I've seen some black people dress up. There's one guy that died, and they had some kind of party with him, and then they had like the rope, to separate him. His body was embalmed, and he's sitting there looking cool, like he alive, and they having a party. My spirit did not sit well with that. Oh my God, my spirit did not sit so well with that at all. That death spirit is real. That the Lord said, what does the dead have to do with the living? Separate the dead from the living. And people are taking pictures of their family members. I had a co-worker. She showed me her sister after she died and in a coffin. And I did not want to see that. Like, what's her name? I said, what's her name? Angela? No. I forgot her name, but I said, please don't show me that. I'd rather see your sister alive and well. Alive and well. So you have to know what you're dealing with. And then they put the Ash Wednesday on your forehead. You don't know who ashes those are. That's death. That could be somebody cremated and they putting that on you. The Lord never in the Bible anointed anybody's head with ashes. The priests anoint the kings with oil. With oil. Olive oil, to be exact. There was never no ash. That is a death strong spirit. So when you marry into these families and they taking your heart away from the Most High, this is what the Lord is talking about. And so before we close, I want to show you all of the scriptures that says we should not do this. And every man that I tried to marry that was of a different race, they all were strange. They all were strange. Now, I'm not going to say that there isn't any strange black men. There are, because those men have been accustomed to Babylonian system. And they're steering their own hearts away from the Lord. But it's very rare that I have dated a black person that don't know the Lord. They may not practice it, and that's why they're not with me. But at least they know. They know who he is. They know what he looked like. They know they know. They at least pray. They at least try. You know? But every Caucasian, Hispanic, Armenian, some Russian, I would say the only one that come close to not being so strange that I've dated was an Armenian man. And a Russian man. Russian and an Armenian man. For the most part, they all were strange. They wanted to do strange sexual things. They wanted to do strange things. They were either on drugs, so on and so forth, and tried to get me on a lot of things. So that's neither here nor there. Now, these are the scriptures that I have written down to look up yourself. The reason why the Lord does not want the Hebrews to mix with these other nations. Now, as you can see, it's all written there. Okay, you can look it up for yourself. Let me see if I can show you, just in case you can't see it that way. You can at least see it this way. Okay, so let me call it out. It is 1 Kings 11. 1 Kings chapter 11, 1 through 3. Joshua chapter 23, verse 7. Deuteronomy 7. Chapter 7, verse 3 through 4. Ezra chapter 9, 1 through 2. Ezra 10, 2 through 3. Ezra 10, 10 through 11. 1 Corinthians 7, verse 15 through 16. Exodus 34, 16 through 26. Nehemiah chapter 13. Malachi chapter 2, 10 through 12. And you can also read Isaiah 40, verse 17, because it says all the nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. Keep it in mind. Now, this is not to say that those who are in graft, that those who come to know the Lord doesn't have, they have a chance. They have a chance because they have come to know the Lord. But that's the reason why he said no, because they're, the other day, this is another disclaimer, and I'm almost done with this video. I know it's long. I do a lot of long videos. The other day, I seen a black couple with a Thai girl, Thai female. And she was very sweet and very kind, and she respected me, because most of the time I see that the other women do not respect me. They are with attitude and everything, but I was surprised. She was very kind, but something came to my spirit that, so what? He's with her and she may be kind, but that doesn't mean that I accept it, the Lord said, because for the simple fact that his heart is turned away. Will he mention me to her? Does she know the Lord? No, because they probably serve Buddha. That's what the Lord showed me. So there was another one, Psalms 147 verse 19. How the Most High Ahia deal with Yashael, because they know him. Other nations do not know him well. Okay? So with that being said, we pray Psalms 91 on this channel. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide underneath the shadow of the Almighty. And just that part alone, take it and soak it in, because this is how I get my wisdom. Dwelling in the secret place of the Most High. Me and him alone. Me and him alone. Me and him alone. Or even if I'm out and about or even around someone, my focus is on him and him speaking to me. Simple. That's it. So I'm done with this video, and I will say shalom.